Welcome to Married to Movies. Industry insiders John Russell and Tracy Kring live and work happily in cinematrimony. They're sharing behind-the-scenes adventures of writing, producing, and appreciating films.
Morning, babe.
Good morning, babe. Where's our food?
Well, we're not doing food right now.
Oh, see, you caved to pressure.
One person was like, yeah, I love this show. I really agree with it. Why do you always eat? It's distracting and not appealing.
It's distracting and not appealing.
Now,
that should be tattooed on my chest. That's who I am.
Accurate.
You're absolutely caving to critics.
Okay.
Because let me point this out to you.
Uh-huh.
I spoke with another fan. Apparently we have two fans, folks. We have two. At least. We have at least two fans. Two whole fans. And he's someone I've been talking to for a number of years about encouraging him to be a filmmaker. And he would call me occasionally and, get advice, blah, blah, blah. And I told him about this naysayer. Mm-hmm. And he said, absolutely wrong. I love it. It's real. It feels like I'm just making stuff up now. But he
say any of this?
He did say all of this. I just don't remember specifically what he said. But he did say that he liked the eating.
We're going to try it.
Maybe we should have one plate.
When the show began, it was just audio. We were not intending to do any sort of video.
Okay. When the show began, we did it every fucking day.
Well, I was trying, I didn't know how this would look.
Right.
And I was trying to prepare myself for having to release a show. And we used to do it twice weekly. I didn't know how long was it going to take me? Would life get in the way? But then I learned that I could actually build the confidence of my own integrity.
Okay.
And all of Sunday, for as long as it takes, that's what I do.
Right.
No matter what else I'm working on, no matter what else has to be done, that's what's going to happen.
Okay.
It actually makes me feel really good to have that kind of consistency with myself.
You know what makes me feel good is that we're dressed alike today.
And
how did that happen?
I'm pretty sure that was accidental.
It was accidental.
Yeah.
I was looking for, I need to, find some clothes. And I wanted to wear my Baywatch t-shirt.
Uh-huh.
And then I came out and you were wearing the exact same shirt.
The red buffalo plaid.
Red buffalo plaid. Yes.
I am a fan of a buffalo plaid.
I think they're good. I like buffalo plaids. I also, though, I want to eat my goddamn breakfast. Okay, that's one thing.
Yeah.
And two, I am more in the vein of okay, this is something we don't normally see. Now, maybe there's a reason we don't normally see that.
Maybe it disgusts people.
Exactly. Maybe that's why. But I'm willing to try it. Maybe this will be the only time we don't have breakfast, or maybe who knows. Boy, The Notebook's a depressing movie if you think about it.
And it's a musical now, too.
Oh, yes, I know. Do you remember me? See, I don't even know. No, I don't even know any of the music for The Notebook, but I imagine there has to be some sort of a song.
Remember me.
Remember me, the times we spent on the lake looking at geese. Ryan Gosling and what's her name? Make that movie. They make that.
Yeah.
The casting in that movie was so great.
Yeah.
That really, really made that movie.
I think, hey, just let the guy live. Let the, he's gotten over you. He's successful now. He's built this beautiful house. Just leave him alone.
That's right.
You screwed it up.
On the boat, in the water, Oh, God. So many. I mean, that's the thing about Broadway now. It's all these movies that have been turned into musicals. One of my friends is a producer of Purple Rain, the musical.
Okay.
And when I heard that, I was like, well, that makes sense. Holy shit.
But also, isn't that kind of a thing? Because Prince, made a movie, Purple Rain.
Well, of course. But the actual movie of Purple Rain, the story in Purple Rain could be improved upon. If you incorporated...
So could The Notebook. So what's the difference exactly?
Okay. Well, okay. What I'm saying is that Purple Rain is all about the music. Okay, it's all about sort of the music video quality of these amazing songs. I think Purple Rain the musical actually makes more sense.
Okay, so
than the movie.
Some derivative products are better than others.
I don't think the problem is the derivative product. I think the problem is that there are things that should not be musicals.
Well, I think if Poltergeist the musical came out, I'd go see that.
God.
If Godfather the musical came out, I'd go see that.
What would a song be in Poltergeist the musical?
I mean, like, it's perfect. Like, Mommy!
He's the beast. He's the devil in disguise. He tells things only a child could know.
I mean, you're kind of nailing it. I think we should. Can anyone write sheet music? Anybody?
Hold on to yourselves. Hold on to yourselves. He knows more than he should. God is in his holy temple. I mean, that was the scariest part of Poltergeist 2.
That dude, and that dude was dying.
He was dying.
He was dying, and he knew he was dying. And did you know he started the Living Theater? He was
an amazing
actor, and started this whole movement
right.
of theater not being so damn stiff and Shakespearean,
right?
And it was about movement.
Well, and it was like where the theater where it was more like in people's faces, and they would go to places and they would experience the theater. Yes, exactly.
Yeah, no, he was part of that whole movement. I mean, it's crazy. I really regret that he never was like Scrooge. In a Living Theater style.
He would have been great.
Christmas Carol.
He would have been
great. That would have been cool.
Okay, last night I'm at a party. Can I say where or not? No, say where. Okay. My friend Kim, she was the host and she did a great job. Her concept was she was reading the different definitions of what the word host was. Another definition of host is a Stephanie Meyer book about
the host. Yeah. I like The Host. I think actually Stephanie Meyer. I mean, but
have you ever read Twilight, folks?
Yeah, I have.
Wow,
I have, and it inspired me to write. Actually, I wrote my first screenplay after I read all of the Twilight books because it was like, oh wow, this is a woman, who could be me, and she's doing this thing. Right. So why don't I do this thing?
And then from Twilight, 50 Shades of Grey, she wrote Twilight fiction.
Yeah.
Like fan fiction, like sex fiction.
Yeah.
And then moved in from sex fiction.
And I don't know if she's ever written a thing again.
Then the 50 Shades of Grey books?
I think I couldn't even
She got enough money to make her own red room.
Yeah, I couldn't read even past the first couple of pages.
Oh, really?
Of 50 Shades. It was so bad.
Well, I totally read the 50 Shades of Grey. Yeah, the first one.
I remember my mom said
it's kind of hot.
My mom goes, okay, the writing was not spectacular. I can't stand to read any more sounds of his jeans unzipping. And the sound of the condom wrapper. She's like, I can't do it.
Yeah.
We're girls obsessed.
Yeah, very, very much. Jeans are big. There was an ASMR quality of that. I'm sure we can find a channel of just the sounds of condom wrappers.
Well, let's not. But
are you into any S&M, any sort of bondage, any choking, any well first of all, I should know this, but
evidently not. This is something I do in my spare time.
Oh well, on the weekends.
I like the feeling of heaviness on me or being crushed.
Okay.
I will sometimes ask you to hug me really hard.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know, there's something that feels really good.
Okay.
About that. So I understand.
Okay. I like that. So maybe what I should introduce into our bedroom play is some of those large bricks.
Yeah, that sounds like you're going to kill me.
They're not called bricks. What are those?
It sounds like a coffin lid.
No, it's not like a coffin lid. No.
Like cement blocks?
Yeah, cement blocks. There we go. Cement block love.
No. I don't think we should be doing that.
That's a good name for a band, folks.
No, and like a lot of times, because like I have certain things that really scare me,
right,
for like a person's survival.
Right.
I don't like to feel like a person is going to get murdered.
Exactly. Keep it nice. Don't be mean.
Even in movies, like
don't spit, don't slap, don't do any of that.
Didn't someone recently like get killed by getting punched?
Someone got killed by being punched?
Or was that in...
That was in Roadhouse, Tracy!
Oh, that was in
Roadhouse.
Oh,
my God. Wait, was that a transition? Because that was fantastic transition if it was.
It was.
Oh, you were such a liar!
How am I a liar?
You're such a liar!
At the show right here says Roadhouse.
What? I totally bought that transition.
You did.
I'm stupid.
It's right here. It says Roadhouse. First topic, Roadhouse.
That is... But your transition to the punch thing.
I planned it further back.
I could have left it and people would have went, oh, wow, that was a great transition.
No, you ruined it.
I ruined it. I
worked hard on that.
Christmas.
Listen back and you'll hear me planting the seed.
You were planting the seed. You were. Oh.
I'm not saying the first Roadhouse was like, an Oscar winner.
After we watched...
Okay, but let's not say that yet.
I know. I'm saying it.
We did watch it
we
afterwards.
We watched the second one.
But we're not going to say that.
The first one again.
Okay,
we did.
We're not going to go there yet.
We did go there. I just went there. I'm going to continue to go there. You cannot edit this out. I went there. I went there. I have gotten there. So don't try to edit this out. All right. We've been excited about the Roadhouse movie. We watched the trailer.
I mean, yeah, I was like, okay, a new Roadhouse, whatever.
Jake Gyllenhaal looking like crazy buff.
The first 10 minutes of that movie, I'm just sitting there saying, Jake Gyllenhaal, and I said this to the screen, Jake Gyllenhaal, you're a really good actor.
He's an amazing actor.
Why is this happening?
Nightcrawler is one of the best movies of
amazing.
The last 20 years. I just want to say, I have nothing but love for Jake Gyllenhaal. Sometimes some of his choices, questionable. Okay. This movie was trash.
Just by the way, visually here, I'm ripping up hot dogs so that our dogs will not.
That was that was some amazing
hot dog here.
CGI.
Just in case you want to know,
Tracy has now become AIS exactly in honor of 50 Shades of Grey.
Sometimes when I throw the hot dog down, it lands on top of the dogs. Though.
Oh,
what the hell?
This movie, Doug Liman, amazing producer. Just crazy director. I mean, amazing. Does all of the Bourne movies and such trash.
Okay, I get
just badly written.
Whenever we get feedback on a script, maybe coverage is something that I just innately do not understand.
Okay.
In my opinion, and when I provide coverage, I want to look at the concepts that you have laid out and the quality of the writing.
Right.
And I want to make suggestions on where maybe your tone is inconsistent or the pacing is slow.
Right.
Maybe an idea that you had that you could expound upon.
Right.
I'm not interested in really turning it into a thing it's not.
Right.
Because this is the thing you've written. And I might make a suggestion like, look, have you considered this might actually make a really good scary movie? Like if you tweak some things. Or have you considered that maybe it needs to have more genre elements to really be, what you're going, like a comedy.
So do you feel like the tone of this was too jokey?
Okay, but my question is, who covered this?
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Because they have no taste.
The way that the whole movie was set up felt so unbelievably false.
Okay.
Do not tell me that Post Malone is an unbeatable fighter.
Oh, God.
Okay.
That was so weird. That was just weird.
Do not tell me that Post Malone has beaten up 6 guys that night.
You remember isn't it Greg Allman or some Allman brother in the beginning of Rush? The bad guy in Rush. They're trying to.
It is Greg Allman. You nailed it.
Okay, so that's a good example of somebody who's crossing over into acting.
Yes.
And they don't give him a whole lot to say.
Right.
They use his physicality.
Yes.
Post Malone is a now he's not, but then he was a, kind of like a guy that would scare you at a grocery store. He's just a kind of a flabby white guy.
Well, yeah. I mean, yeah, he was. Yeah, he started out as sort of a a drug dealer and a criminal and all this type of stuff, and then he turned his. I mean, I really enjoy Post Malone. Here's one of the big issues with the movie: all the fighting.
There's like a CG element.
There's some sort of CG element where it's like sped up, and it feels like
things
what's
move
real
in a
and
way
what's
they don't.
not real. It looks so bad.
Well, it's like he gets hit by a car and
that one's. I mean,
it looks really weird.
I understood that one because you're not going to be able to hit him, that way.
But the way that his body moved,
everything was so weird.
But the way that his body moved was like they didn't understand anatomy.
Yeah, it was. Let's also just talk about just the way they set up this movie.
This woman comes and says, hey, my uncle gave me this bar. Will you help me clean it up? Because it's like, a nightmare. So he gets on a bus, ends up at a bus station, a little bus stop in Glass Key next to a bookstore. Which of course,
tons of bookstores just right off this road.
And then this girl comes out. It was actually the daughter from Lioness.
She is probably the best thing in the film.
Yeah, but she just hands him shit and starts striking up a conversation, and it's like a video game.
Well, yeah.
It's like
Jumanji. Yeah. She's like one of those NPR things or NPA or whatever it is.
Non-player character.
Non-player. NPC, that's it. Non-player characters.
Yeah.
I understood the idea was that she was trying to sell books, okay? And so... But
then her dad comes out and it's like, hey, what are you doing here? Oh, I came to clean up the roadhouse. The roadhouse?
Roadhouse? What? Well, it's like, well, first of all, they call it the roadhouse.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's no irony.
That is so stupid. I understand they try to make it a joke that it's called the roadhouse.
It's just so weird. And it's not like Jake Gyllenhaal sucks.
And here's another thing. Okay, it did not feel like the kind of bar that shit like that would be. Have you ever been to the South Florida?
Have you been to the Keys?
People aren't beating each other up there.
I mean,
they're smoking pot. They're drinking Michelob Ultras.
They're
listening to Jimmy Buffett.
I was just like, this is the kind of bar that people get married at.
Yeah. You're absolutely right.
It's not a rough bar.
You're absolutely
there is nothing there other than a pool table that a biker wants.
It reminded me of that restaurant that we always go to in Duma Key.
Yeah, Lorelei.
Yeah, Lorelei. Yeah,
no, it's not Duma Key. That's a Stephen King book. They really were just fighting over the fact that they wanted to tear that bar down.
It was just so stupid. I think Jake Gyllenhaal was having fun. I think he loved the idea that he would just get
buff,
crazy, insane ripped.
You know what?
And be an MMA fighter.
Let me make this suggestion.
Okay.
You can go to the gym and have sporty interests without making a film in order to do that. You can just go do that
But
now.
He has to create a reason to take off his shirt.
I was not sad at all when Swayze got very naked in the first Roadhouse movie, the original.
The original Roadhouse. There's a fight at the end of the original Roadhouse. That's one of the most, to me, it's one of the most iconic fights. You know the one I'm talking about, folks. Yeah. Have you seen this? It has the throat rip.
The throat rip.
The throat rip.
And the girl.
Which became parodied.
In MacGruber.
In MacGruber. I love your throat rips.
Okay, but here's the thing, too.
And he was going to go for a second throat rip.
That woman.
Big Gazzara.
The woman that's his love interest, she's there every time he brutally kills someone.
That's true. She just, wanders up just as he rips the guy's throat out.
I mean, and her.
But that's right. But that happens. She misses one of the great lines of all time when the guys, they're in the middle of their fight. Okay. And he decides, I'm going to scare this guy with this line I'm about to give him.
Yeah.
He's like, I used to fuck guys like you in prison.
Okay. Well, that tells me more about your character than.
Such a Unbelievable line.
It's great.
It's full of...
And it's really well written, though.
It's full of interesting characters.
Yeah.
Okay. There were like all of these like old guys from like the 60s and 70s who are in it. There's this guy named Sunshine. That's the actor's name is Sunshine. He's the one that was the farmer.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
He's a great character.
The farmer was hilarious because, like, okay, here comes Swayze. He's like, yeah, a lot of people have seen this place, but not wanted to rent it. He shows him the loft of a barn. Okay, you can see daylight through it.
Loft of a barn, but beautiful. It has like a fireplace in the loft of the barn.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm just like, yeah, that's going to be good for about 3 months of the year. Right. And then you're going to be freezing.
And, okay, you open the door of the loft of the barn, you look across, and
it's the bad guy's house.
It's the villain's house. It's his Casa de Evil.
They have Swayze and that actress.
Yes.
Kelly
Lynch.
I feel like they have much less chemistry than she has with Sam Elliot.
Oh, I had chemistry with Sam Elliot.
Sam Elliot was like wetting your drawers.
He was looking really good. He was looking real. Okay,
his attitude.
Here's the thing about Sam Elliot that nobody really realizes. Okay, the first movie that Sam Elliot did, it's a movie called Frogs.
Yeah, I've seen Frogs.
You've seen Frogs?
I have. You're right. Yes.
And Sam Elliot is like the sex god in that movie. He's like the Tom Selleck in that movie.
And he is hot.
That's the thing. You never think about Sam Elliot being hot.
No, but he really is. He really is. And that voice.
It's Sam Elliot.
And he like the way that he's coming on to her and he's just eating her with his eyes.
Oh my God. He comes on to her in a way that's way inappropriate for a friend to come on to another friend's girlfriend. A lot of love for Sam Elliot. He's like the best thing sometimes in movies.
Well, he was in The Big Lebowski too,
He's
right?
in The Big Lebowski. He's in Mask.
Oh yeah, he's great in Mask.
Yeah. I guess, could you say he's sexy in Mask?
Yeah.
He kind of plays exactly the same part
as Aaron Brockovich's.
Yes, that's exactly the same part.
Aaron Eckhart.
Aaron Eckhart. Yeah, with the mustache and the whole thing.
Aaron Eckhart is not believable in that role at times.
Aaron Eckhart's been doing some shit movies lately. He's like BC tier, man.
I was scrolling around and I saw a meme of a Sam Mendes quote.
Okay.
And I actually looked up the article that was from Vanity Fair.
Okay, so Sam Mendes started out in theater.
And some of these quotes had to do with theater, and we're not going to talk about those.
American Beauty and The Road to Perdition.
You love that movie.
I think that movie is amazing. And Skyfall.
Yeah, Skyfall.
I mean, Sam Mendes is a hell of a director.
He knows to work with deacons.
Yes, no doubt. Smart man.
One of his quotes was actually, always cast Dame Judi Dench when possible.
No, that makes sense.
That was one of his quotes.
That makes sense.
Always choose good collaborators. It seems very obvious, but the best collaborators are the ones who disagree with you.
Okay.
And I'm like,
boom.
You're crazy.
That's right.
You're crazy.
Right.
There's a point where, okay, like if we disagree, right? And then if that person does say yes, you know that they really mean it. Okay, great. But there are some people who just have so much ego that they insist on disagreeing about everything.
Right.
And you have to be careful.
They have to be right. That's the most important thing. You know, for them to be...
they have to be flexible.
And if you work with somebody who's just like contrary to be contrary, who's always basically the devil's advocate,
or who's working from a state of ego and not the project,
it doesn't work.
Yeah, I would totally disagree with disagreeing.
Right.
Learn to say I don't know the answer.
Of course.
Yeah, totally.
3 most important words in the world is I don't know.
There's no right or wrong. There's only interesting and less interesting.
Absolutely right.
Yeah. And we also say on our sets, like, best idea wins.
Right. And once again, right or wrong, there's also no good or bad.
Never, ever, ever forget how lucky you are to do something that you love.
Oh, that's wonderful, Sam. Absolutely.
And it's true. Even whenever, you wake up in the morning and you think, Oh, God. I'm in complete and utter failure at pretty much everything that I do other than breathing and pooping. There are people out there who are not
breathing
doing
and
things
pooping.
They love. No, doing things that they really love.
Exactly. Right.
Doing things that
all they're doing is thinking about and lamenting the fact that they're not doing what they want to be doing or what they've always felt like they could do.
And maybe they're not giving themselves permission to love something and do it.
I at the party, I was talking to this girl. She works as an editor. She told me that she has a podcast. I have not heard it yet. It's called Table Reads. And her and a bunch of her friends read comedy sketches.
Oh, that's fun.
Yes. And, basically, have opinions about that. So let me give a shout out to Table Reads, folks.
Okay, but I also think that you could, because I wanted to pull the script on Roadhouse, the new one, and just read the first couple of scenes.
Yes.
Because I think things can also be very funny that are inadvertently funny.
We had an idea for a party we wanted to have.
I still want to do this one day where it's like a bunch of actors and they take all of the sides that they've had to audition with through the whole week.
Right.
And at the end of the week, they all have a party.
Just an unbelievable.
Where they read them.
The worst stuff possible. And how you have to try to sell this. There was a script that we once got that was the funniest thing I've ever read in my life.
Inadvertently,
the funniest thing I've ever read.
It was so weird.
It was like post-apocalyptic. It was insane.
There was no way to deliver it in any way that was not hysterical.
It was absolute madness.
It was hysterical.
It was so funny. It made you want to pee.
I still remember a lot about that script because maybe it should have been. It could have been a Spaceballs if anybody ever made it.
I mean, if
that's
somebody,
hard to do.
That's the problem is, can you make something so bad that it's good? The only way to do it is to do it accidentally. That's the only way to pull it off.
Tell everything a little faster.
Okay. You can't judge Origian by how fast we're doing it because we're doing it in like
a few pages at a time.
Just a couple of pages at a time.
Well, and maybe that's the thing that we can do at the end is like combine all of them into one thing. So
I would love that.
Let's get into Origian.
Let's do Origian. Interior Origian Control Room Day. Ian and his team on Earth are communicating with another team in space on the low orbit docking station via video. Everyone is excited.
Dr. Thessaly in space. Until now, we thought it was just another quiet sun, but the EM signal is focused and we're getting from 1 to 900 megahertz in a confirmed repetition. It's possibly coming from the red dwarf star, exoplanet Kepler 186f, orbiting 557.7 light years away, but less likely in my estimation.
Ian looks at the zoom in of the planet. It has some blue patches. Ian, I'm familiar with the planet, and it's always been assumed it's far enough from the sun to have actual water.
Dr. Thessaly, at only 52.4 million kilometers from our sun, it's the most exciting discovery yet, in my opinion.
Can you play the signal? A tech nearby, the doctor, sends an audiograph of the signal to the screen. It looks like a mountain range and sounds like a scratchy old record. Playing on a loop, you can hear the repetition. Ian, it has a hint of a black hole sound. Are you hearing that?
Dr. Thessaly, good ears, yes. But we're tracking and we believe it's interference because of the sun's position relative to us up here.
I'm ecstatic. But let's keep this internal and completely quiet for now. The thought that within 53 years we could have our first contact, full contact, it's my dream. We have permission to continue and work even harder.
Interior living room day. Jeff and Grace are sitting on the couch. There's a blanket that has been pinned up like a curtain. Bettina comes out from behind the curtain wearing an old top hat. She reads from papers in her hands.
Ladies and gentlemen, and boys and girls of all ages, I present to you an original work by Emmeline Wright and her beautiful sister Bettina. Please silence your phones and flash photography is prohibited. I give you 2 girls.
Robbie, the dog robot, grabs a piece of the blanket and pulls it back. The makeshift stage is divided into 2. Emmeline walks out in a baseball cap and purple sunglasses, playing Ian Solange.
Emmeline, I used to feel like I was in a glass box, and no one could hear me, and I couldn't be heard by them.
Bettina is playing Emmeline. They have made a set to represent Emmeline's room. She has a few items on a table and a cardboard box that says moving. She is sadly taking items from her desk and placing them in the box.
Emmeline continued, as Ian Solange. I now can spend my time solely on the activities that only I can do. I have nothing to hide. I have nothing to protect. I have nothing to prove. I have nothing to defend. Now, who do I choose to be?
Emmeline takes off her disguise and walks to the other side of the set, which has a cardboard O taped up. She starts doing training. The play now has 2 scenes going simultaneously. Bettina packs up and unpacks, plays with her dog, and then she pulls out of her box a fake birthday cake with a 1 candle on it. She adds another 1 candle to symbolize Emmeline's 11th birthday. At the same time, Emmeline is riding on a treadmill, doing really hard math, acting like she's floating weightless. When the 1 is put on her cake, she leans over and acts like she's blowing out the candle herself. This pattern with both continues with a 2, a 3, a 4, a 5, a 6. Emmeline is now 16. Then Bettina exits the stage. There's a sound cue of a rocket explosion. Emmeline sits down in a chair and starts shaking like she's in the seat of a rocket.
Bettina, VO, there is something out there. It may be a dying star whose last flicker is being misinterpreted, but it also could be the savior of mankind.
Bettina turns on Emmeline's effect light from her room, and now it splays stars all over the living room. Emmeline gets out of her chair and simulates walking around in zero gravity. She gets back into the chair, and the sound of the engine is cued again, except this is for a landing. She gets out of her chair, and Bettina makes a sound backstage of an opening of a rocket door.
Bettina, whoosh.
There's a music cue of old theremin 1950s Forbidden Planet music, and Emmeline gingerly walks out. From around the back of the makeshift stage, Robbie walks toward Emmeline. He has a cardboard robot head that is attached. The music from 2001 cues, and Bettina finishes.
Bettina, as Ian Solange, your daughter could do amazing things. She might save lives with her knowledge. She could revolutionize robotics. But if there isn't a world to utilize her gifts, then she is wasted.
The music goes down, and Emmeline is standing by herself looking at her parents. Jeff and Grace are crying. They embrace each other, not knowing all the repercussions, but knowing the answer is yes. Bettina screams with delight, and Emmeline smiles.
Wow. That's a powerful scene.
Boy, they really put together a convincing little presentation there, didn't they?
You know.
It is raining so hard.
I know. It's crazy. I think this may be the first time we ever did the show with it raining outside.
I don't think so. But
okay,
hopefully
maybe
it's
not
completely
Fine.
distracting. Or maybe it's a new level of ASMR.
Yes, exactly.
Since we didn't eat, we cued the rain.
Yes, that was a fun show. I never thought I would get to talk about Sam Elliott's debut in Frogs on a podcast.
Well, anything is possible.
It is. One of the things I just want to end right here is the end credits of Frogs. Right at the very end of the credit, there is a cartoon frog that bounces out with a hand in its mouth.
Oh.
And I will never forget that because it is so unlike the rest of the film to have and I always thought maybe they should have made the movie animated.
Is that going to be the end of the movie?
Yeah, that's going to be the end. Yeah. Why would that not be the end? That's the perfect ending.
It's hard not to get romantic about movies. Thanks for listening to Married to Movies. Jon and Tracy will meet you for breakfast tomorrow.